Hello everyone, welcome to finmanac.com. In this section we're going to deal with sensitivity analysis in Excel and its use in finance, specifically for portfolio theory. We're going to deal with data tables and its use for sensitivity analysis, particularly for one-way data tables. In the subsequent classes we would be dealing with two-way data tables. In my screen you can see two formulas that is essential for us to understand today what a two asset portfolio problem is. There is a mean and the covariance. It is nothing but if I have two assets which has different mean as well as the standard deviation, I can find out the relationship between them by calculating the mean, which is weighted average of the two means, and the covariance, which is given by the formula in the screen, which is w1 square into sigma 1 square plus w2 square into sigma 2 square plus w1 w2 into rho 1 to sigma 1 sigma 2. You might be wondering that what is rho 1 2? Rho 1 2 is nothing but the correlation. We will see in the subsequent example that we have. So with this basic theory, let's move on to what we have for today, which is the data tables and its analysis in Excel. I am going to show you a already prepared sheet which is with the examples that we're going to see for today's explanation. I have a two asset portfolio problem in which I have assets which are giving a mean return of 6% and a variance or a sigma of 11%, and asset 2 which is giving a mean of 10% and a sigma of 20%. You see the correlation which I have just assumed to be 20% here, and the covariance which I have calculated using the same as multiplication of B7, which is a correlation rho 1 2 into the sigma 1 and sigma 2. Now in any data table sensitivity analysis you need to have an example which I have put in here in this section, and also you need to have an analysis section where you are changing one of the parameters for you to find out the sensitivity. The important thing here to remember here is a connection to the example which I have highlighted in yellow. So if you see this, I have calculated for asset 1 which is 80%, as I have assumed that I am investing 80% in asset 1, and I have calculated the mean and the variance for that particular portfolio. If I have 80% in asset 1, which directly means 20% in asset 2. So with that formula I have calculated the mean, which is 1 minus B11 and B11, and if you see the variance formula is nothing but the same as what we saw in the previous page, and I've also calculated the sigma, which is a square root of this, which is standard deviation. Now we've all set here. I have calculated this data table already. Let me remove this and I'll try and find out what exactly will you need to do to get these values. Okay, now it is a table or probably an array input, so I need to select all the values in this entire table in order to do the data table itself. So if you see, I have the asset 1 which is varying from 0% to 100%. What it simply means is I have two assets and I am trying to vary the assets percentage from 0 to 100 and finding out the various sigma and the mean corresponding to it. So now I have set the stage, I have the example, I have the connection to the example. So just to explain you once more, the connection to the example is nothing but, okay, I have a mean formula, I have a sigma formula in my example. Please use the same formula here for my sensitivity analysis as well. Now all I need to do is select the table entirely for which I need the sensitivity and go to data section. You might see the tabs which is what if analysis, in which you need to actually click here for data table. Now it asks you for two inputs. One is, okay, is it the row which you are changing, or is it the column input cell which is changing? So here our case is a column input which is changing, so I need to find out the sigma and the mean corresponding to this. Now all I'm going to do is, okay, what is that which I am changing here, which is 80%, the asset 1, I have to change for the various values that I've looked here. So I'll just click OK. Then you would see that it neatly calculates the sigma and the mean corresponding to various asset. Now to complete this analysis you might be you might want to draw a scatter plot and check for yourself how the CAPM model that you have seen in the books is the same as what we have also constructed. Go to scatter plot and click with smooth lines. You'll see a graph generated here. Now this, as you know that, yeah, the same as what you might have seen in the books, where okay, as I keep on increasing the investment in one of these assets, I see a portfolio minimum variance, the global portfolio minimum variance, and then it changes or it actually increases for various risk levels that I have. So this is the CAPM model that you might have seen in the books. We will deal with it later. I'm going to make no attempt to make this look beautiful, but the important thing here is for you to understand that I have created a data table, and that the importance of that is with respect to the connection to the example and the variation that you have to use. Now the common errors that you might encounter in data tables is that check if the formula option is actually used for, checked for automatic. Now how do you check that? Go to options. In Excel options, you might see in the formulas tab, you might see that there is a workbook calculation which should be made automatic. This simply means that Excel recalculates the workbook automatically each time the value affecting a formula changes. Now you have also options which are manual. I'll tell you when to use manual, and I'll also tell you when to use automatic, except for data tables. There is a lot of mathematics going behind the Excel itself to calculate these values. Now that's the reason why there are many options that's given to kind of smoothen your process. Now if you see this entire thing is a table or probably an array input, so which means you can see that from the section here you might see that it's a table, and you cannot delete the values of the table in one, so it will say that the function is not valid. So all I have to do is, if I have to remove the entire section, I have to probably select the values of the entire table and remove it. I cannot delete for individual values. That's what it means. So let's do that. So I can delete the entire thing but not the individual value. So we'll learn about array functions later. Let's see if we have any of the inputs that is needed for array. We'll see how to transpose an array and the use of it in finance. I'm sure you might have got you might have got some benefit out of this lecture on data tables. We'll see in the forthcoming sessions of how sensitivity analysis is not only used in finance. You can use it when you're borrowing money, taking a loan, when you want to do a simple analysis of whether the investment is worth enough, and a lot of places where sensitivity is used. Let's look at in the next subsequent classes. Thank you one and all for listening to this seminar. Thanks.